Greetings to you everyone from wherever you are watching and listening to this video. I believe that this video finds you well and in good position. Now, yesterday's protests the Gen Z's protests as was called for by the organizers. We all know and saw what happened. And in this video, I want us just to analyze a few things that happened yesterday. In Kenya, we all know that whenever a call for protest is made, people always come out in large numbers, and in various regions, they always record a higher turnout. But with regards to yesterday's 25th, 2026, June, the protests was met by different reactions. And especially, we have regions that totally did not come out to protest as people expected. And especially the regions like the Coast region, Nyanza region, Western region, Rift Valley. And there was calmness. You could see people go to their everyday activities. The activities went on well. Those who are traders were doing their businesses, and especially the region where Raila Odinga comes from. This is Kisumu area and the likes of Homa Bay area. There was no major protest that was witnessed. What does this imply, ladies and gentlemen? This clearly tells that Kenyans are now coming back to their senses. And it shows that Kenyans have made up their minds that they don't want to waste time anymore in the protests. Because unlike in the past, these regions, whenever a protest was called for, it was a disaster, and it was something that was very, very shocking. You could see people come out in large numbers, and the entire thing was a total mess. But yesterday's protest sends a very important signal and message. Because remember, we have the people who are pro two-term, and we have those who are anti-two-term. So this clearly implies that Kenyans have started realizing that they don't have time to waste on the streets. They don't have that energy to go and run battles with the police in the streets. They don't have that morale and energy to waste in the name of protest. Does it mean that from these regions the Gen Zs did not die in 2024? No. The Gen Zs lost their lives, and it is on record, and even the government is in the process of compensating those who lost their lives, or those who are injured, or even lost property, and etc., etc. What does this mean to the government and to the opposition? This clearly implies that the government is a bit finding itself at ease moment, because the time that is wasted and the energy and the resources that are wasted in containing these protests is always very costly. Because remember, we have people who always lose their properties. Looters always find opportunity to destroy other people's property. They steal from them. They carry out a lot of distractions. And at the end of the day, or at the end of everything, as far as protest is concerned, losses are registered in as far as property and even lives are always lost. So, in yesterday's event, I think the government is trying now to find the stability in these regions, because anything to go by protests, the areas that have counted, Nyanza region, Western region, and coastal regions, these are regions that always register a high number of fatality, and even the destruction of properties. And the business owners in these areas were at least happy, because there was no looting, there was no destruction of properties, there was no loss of lives, and people could do their businesses at peace. But I think to the opposition, this is a disadvantage to them, because people are now coming into realization that they have a duty to perform. Remember, we have people who always go to work on daily basis. They are paid on a casual basis. You work and you're paid. If you don't report to work, you are not paid. So I think this is a good sign, because why must we always go to the street, you demonstrate or you protest the loss of life, and at the same time you as the demonstrator, you go and lose your life, which becomes a burden to your family, it becomes a burden to your community. So, to me, I think as Kenyans, we need to find out ways and mechanisms on how to solve the problems that we are facing as a country. We need to become sober into our minds. I don't disagree that people lost their lives during the protest in 2024, but this does not amount to the destructions of property, loss of lives, and even people being injured. So I don't know what you think about yesterday's event. How did it go in your area? And what do you think? Should we keep on going to the streets and run battles with the security apparatus or police officers up to a point whereby we get injured, up to a point whereby we lose our lives? Or should we find alternative ways or measures on how to deal with the issues that are affecting us as a country? Otherwise, thank you for listening in. Drop in your comment, drop in your view at the end of this video. Thank you for your time.